This was not on my bingo card, but today we are revisiting yet another piece of the 2011 Stanley Cup finalist Vancouver Canucks team and talking about how Alex Edler is reportedly gonna get a role with the team. Oh yeah, this is the rebuild that we have been talking about. Build the team on the ice by getting younger and getting high draft picks, and build the team off the ice by using all these Vancouver Canucks from the 2010-2011 era. Ryan Johnson, Hankendank, Manny Malhotra, Alex Edler. What's next? Burrows is gonna come over from Montreal? Kevin Bieksa is gonna leave his Sportsnet job? Roberto Luongo, the new goalie coach? There are a number of memes that we can make and talk about in regards to this news, but let's dive into the actual scoop here. HockeyNews.se tweeted this out earlier in the morning. Alex Edler is on his way to getting a role with the Vancouver Canucks. And if we go over to the article here, it is in Swedish, automatically translated to English via the Google machine. We will leave a link in the description if you want to read this. Posted earlier this morning, Edler on the verge of a role with the Canucks. Brothers Daniel and Henrik Sedin have entered the absolute leadership of the team. According to information from Hockey News, they appear to be reuniting with former teammate Alexander Edler, who is expected to have a role in the NHL club. Now, you need plus in order to read this piece, but just because we don't have plus does not mean we can't get the scoop. You've got folks all over on social media going out there and talking about this. Adam Kierszenblat of the Hockey News went out there and posted the same thing here. And then if you scroll down, you read his own Twitter feed, you'll find the scoop over here. The plan is for their former Canucks teammate Alex Edler to help out at this summer's development camp, so he will also get a part in the organization. Now, this summer's development camp, I'm pretty sure that's referring to the prospects, so Alex Edler seems like he will be taking on some sort of a role akin to what the Sedins had been doing throughout the course of the season in Abbotsford this summer. Edler, of course, is a Vancouver Canucks legend. He's 40 years old now, which is so weird to say. Yeah, can you believe that? Alex Edler is 40. But then you think about it and it's like, oh wait, this guy was drafted 22 years ago. We are getting old, man. We are getting old. 6'4", 209, a left-handed guy. Edler was a big boy. He didn't necessarily play the biggest, but he was just such a good defenseman overall. Everything you needed from a guy, his mobility, his smarts defensively, his shot blocking, his offense, I'm going to say essentially throughout the course of his entire Vancouver Canucks career, spare the very last season that he had. Alex Edler was a legitimately good defenseman, and even though maybe in the later years he had decent point totals, but maybe not the best fanfare, and I say that mostly in part due to the controversy of him not passing to Brock Boeser when Boeser was a rookie on the power play, I know that will always be a moment for a lot of us Canucks fans watching this team 8 years ago. Edler still deserves his flowers. He was the best Canucks defenseman in history up until all of his numbers got passed by Quinn Hughes. Yeah, Edler, you belong in my heart here as a Vancouver Canucks fan. Quinn, you can go over to Minnesota. Edler was a young guy that inevitably established himself as a top prospect out of his Kelowna Rockets days. Inevitably, he worked his way up to being a full Vancouver Canucks teamman in 2007-2008. Where he quickly became known as one of these younger guys on the up and up who had a pretty high ceiling and just a versatile two-way stability on the back end. Inevitably, he played with the Canucks in 2011, and that's where he started to show off that he can be a pretty big name for the Vancouver Canucks. He had 11 points in 25 playoff games as they went to the Stanley Cup Finals, 2 goals, 9 assists. I think the most significant point that Edler scored was the play off the stanchion, where he tried to dump it down and hit the stanchion. It deflected back over to the middle of the point. where Kevin Bieksa walked in and fired it by Antti Niemi to get the overtime Game 5 series-winning victory in Vancouver. But Edler then had some other pretty good years. He had 50 points, 49 points actually, in 82 games the very next season, and then consistently put up around 30-ish point pace numbers over the next few years. Heck, 2018-19, Brock Besser's rookie year, Elias Pettersson's rookie year, Edler had 34 points in 56 games played, so that's before Quinn Hughes was the top power play guy. You could see Edler still getting those numbers in. The very next season, he had 33 points in 59 games played. 8 points in 52 games once he was fully taken off of the power play and Quinn Hughes was fully put onto it. So Edler, unfortunately, was not able to compete against the young American. Inevitably, he went over to the LA Kings, had 19 points in 41 games in his first season and 11 points in 64 games his next, only to be eliminated by the Edmonton Oilers in both years. Now, there's a really nice element to Edler and his career path. We saw him with various partners throughout the course of his Canucks and Kings tenure. Troy Stecher, I think, was the one that stands out to me the most. The fact that Edler and Stecher were a pairing in Vancouver and in LA is such a nice tributing factor there. And it was around that time with the Kings that Edler started to embrace his UNC status as a legitimate veteran who had a lot of experience to share. It seems like now he's going to use that expertise to be helping out these Canucks prospects in summer's development camp. So that's a pretty cool piece of news. I mean, Tom Wielander, I'm thinking about the Swedish guys in the organization, the Karamaki, maybe a Viggo Bjork if the Canucks end up drafting him. There could be some pretty good connections established with Alexander Edler, not to mention, of course, the Sedins still being involved on the front. Head over to the Canucks subreddit and you'll see the response from the fans. The Eagle has landed, Roboni5000 said, bringing the old band back together. I may or may not have seen Jannik Hansen riding his bike on the North Shore last weekend. I was a tad surprised, but figured he still lives in Vancouver. And yeah, that's actually the case. He is a regular on 650, and he potentially coaches the North Shore Winter Club. Bring Jannik Hansen back. That sounds like a great idea. Never forget how Jim Benning was so incompetent, he pushed one of the few guys who was insistent he never wanted to leave Vancouver. That's where our culture problems started. Yeah, there is no reason Eagle should have retired as a Canuck. That one summer where they lost Tanev to Foley Stecher was the beginning of the end. Yeah, okay, we all understand that's actually the way it went down. I'm not sure if this is a translation thing or the way it's worded weird by Adam, but joining the team as a guest development coach during summer development camp is not the same as joining the Canucks front office, but it still would be fun to have Eagle back in any capacity. And yeah, I would assume that's probably an accurate take on it as well. I mean, it's not saying in the tweet or the update that Edler is going to be a hired member of the Canucks staff, but he will be I just say guest maybe. He'll help out. He'll be on the ice, checking in with the young guys. Obviously, the more 2011 Canucks around the team it feels like, the better. But I guess we'll have to wait and see, right? For now, though, seems like the Eagle, Alex Edler, he's coming back to Van, baby. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.